So I'm gonna now give the floor to Elisabeth so she can welcome her guests. Thank you.
I was muted. I was talking to myself. Thank you, Francine. Thank you to everybody to be here. I'm very happy to see that we have so many people who joined, and I know a lot of people who couldn't make it, but who will look at the recording because we're going to have a recording. Like Francine said, yes, we did on Monday because most of the people who are here on board on this side, so to say, of the screen, we are members of ArtSi that we co-founded all together with this aim to show how art can really impact different SDGs. I'm Isabelle Markevitch. I founded ikonoTV, which is a streaming platform which shows only art films. It can be documentaries, of course, and interviews, but it can be also, and we love that, art itself, meaning if we work with contemporary artists, we will work their video art, which are really very special works and things that don't necessarily have comments or whatsoever. It's really the power of the image. And we at Ikono have been believing a lot about the fact that we can have a relationship to the arts on an emotional basis without talking. We tend in the art world to say that basically you can't have an art experience if you don't know about it. I claim to say that this can, it's important to know about, of course, but it can come on a second stage. That basically I can have a relationship to the work of art without knowing anything. I'm ready to bet that most of you have a lot of music in your pocket. I doubt that you know everything about every single musician. Nevertheless, you have pleasure to listen to these musicians. And I think that art is the same. I can look, you know, Botticelli or Vermeer or Rembrandt or Claude Monet and still just enjoy it without necessarily knowing who the artist is. Yes, if I know more, I will probably appreciate it better, but it's kind of two-stage, which means that we have in our brain basically two parts. We have an emotional part and we have an intellectual part. And it's true that when we start to intellectualize, so to say, art, we tend to, it overcomes, so to say, and it can suppress a little bit your emotions. While if we don't take the intellectual part and we just look at art, yes, we're going to just appreciate. So, Mary, by the way, if in the meantime you can just go on ikonoTV and choose any of your favorite slow art films that you will find. I forgot to tell you that, but we're having so many of them. You can just feel free to choose and maybe share at some stage. We don't need to do it immediately because I want to talk first to Isabelle. But what is really interesting is I met Isabelle a few months ago and it clicked immediately. And what I didn't realize immediately, it was why we did click. And it's only when we started to build up our partnership that I realized that her initiative, which is part of the WHO organization based in Geneva, she called it Art Impact for Health and SDGs Initiatives. Isn't that the perfect fit to ArtSi, to everything we are trying to do? Basically, she, within the WHO, has already came up with this perfect title. On top of that, she did some partnership also with a worldwide organization, which is called the Global Social Prescribing Alliance, which wants to promote health and well-being through art. And by doing the partnership, I think but she will say a bit more about it, but we did produce over 2,500 short films, only with all masters, with this aim to give you an art experience on a digital screen. we go very slowly into the details. And instead of telling you the story, we're showing you the story. So it's a visual storytelling, because we had in the back, so to say, the art historian or the artist, whoever knows about an artist, they've been telling the story to the filmmaker, and the filmmaker's job was to translate these words with playing with the camera and going into the thing. So it's not a zoom in, zoom out. It really goes into all the details and try to tell you a story. Isabelle, are you with us?
Absolutely, Elizabeth, absolutely.
Thank you. Welcome to be with us. I didn't want us to make a slideshow. I didn't want us to be too scientific, because I think we don't have a case study yet together, because we're starting this collaboration. We are building the future case studies, because we're already in contact with, I think, 5 different hospitals that I found that Isabelle came on board and now is talking, because we are going to do together testing, which I did already, but not following the WHO protocol. So we're going to do that in a very strict way, following what the WHO likes to do. And we will be showing the way we're going to work is that we will build up playlists. We will send them on specific screens, and these screens will be in hospital waiting rooms, with this idea that when you're going to be waiting, which most of the case, I can say that people are stressed or anxious because they are before a visit with the doctor, and they are not, they have no idea what is going to be which come out of this meeting. And by definition, we are always very negative about these meetings, so we arrive stressed. There's been a lot of tests which have been done in the past, showing that if you would arrive totally relaxed in front of your doctor, you would listen to your doctor more carefully, you will understand what your doctor is telling you, and you could basically translate all the words in a more serious manner than instead of maybe picking 1 or 2 words and doing your own interpretation if you're on a stressy thing. So I think it's arriving to your at your doctor's desk in a completely relaxed thing, it can be very useful. So that's why we did pick the waiting rooms, because they're not really nice place to be waiting. And this is going to be the setting, so to say. And I want to leave now Isabelle explain, where she comes from, because it's interesting also. She's an artist, has been working for 20 years now for the WHO. And so she has a fantastic understanding of both sides. And I think I leave you now to explain this mixed.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I would like to share with you a very brief background to understand how, from my career pathway, I came to establish what you have described so well, the bridge between the left part of the brain and the right part of the brain. Because as an artist and as well scientist, you will imagine, how you can combine the both, and specifically in your own professional setting. And it was an iterative process. It was not like I came, in WHO to do what I am doing now. But I have been able to first work intensively in the area of evidence-informed policymaking for more than 10 years. Donc you can imagine it is the use only of data and to write, policy brief, specifically evidence brief to change, to inform the policy worldwide. And when I have done this process, very interesting process, because you are able to involve all the different stakeholders in this dialogue. In fact, I have realized when you communicate even with the policymaker, researcher, or people in charge to implement policies, specifically people from civil society. You have mentioned entrepreneurs, for example, social entrepreneurs. It is not enough, in fact, to communicate with this type of figure, data, number. And when I have used my own art to open the safety space with all these stakeholders and really to look, for example, not just health issue, but any type of issue related to SDGs, related as well to social challenge we face. I have noticed, in fact, it was more effective to communicate with art. Why? Because art is really universal language. Donc, as you have described, Elisabeth, we can communicate without any specific word, specific type of language, because when you show creativity through art, music or visual expression like painting, sculpture, videos, and the relationship as well with, for example, the photography through, the beauty of nature we have around of us, immediately, all the culture, all the people over the world will connect on this expression. And for me, it was like an amazing discovery, because I realized how it was important to combine, the both. And I was so lucky because my own organization, World Health Organization and United Nations, they have been very receptive to use, in fact, art, and as well not just the art I have produced, but as well to include all the artists, those artists over the world, to communicate about societal challenge, specifically through art expression. And in this regard, we have been able to test this process to communicate with art, with the realization of several art international exhibits, specifically in United Nations in Geneva, in the Palais, on different important topics like the violence against women, but as well to present the sustainable development goals with art, and during the pandemic to reflect about how you can develop a resilience pathway from the individual perspective to collective vision. Donc it was amazing to realize how you have so many artists in the world, are not as well known, are not visible, and how this movement, because it is about a movement, is not static. It is to completely, in terms of leadership, revisit, in fact, the way we are doing that, and art is perfect to do it. It is what I call organic design. And when you use art, you can do this type of design, and you will involve, some artists are ready to share their creativity, but for social purpose, and to make the difference for the life of people. And specifically, the impact of art is very well used and as well accepted in hospital setting. And it is for this reason with Elisabeth we have really clicked together, as she have very well mentioned, because when you start to bring art inside of the hospital, the experience of the patient will change totally. And And as well, we have demonstrated that it is effective from the local level, from the bottom-up level to the international level. Donc, and it is effective as well for any type of audience, any type of stakeholders, because our faculty as human being, it is to really look beyond, you know, the cultural barrier, the cultural belief as well. And art have this power, and specifically, of course, when you are, you know, sick, and it can be any type of illness, sickness. You have the opportunity it's like a contemplation of art, like Elisabeth have very well described, and that will change. And we have already some evidence about that, how that change the state of your mind, and we have again a lot of evidence about that. I can share more evidence to your next.
Isabelle, am I wrong to believe that in fact our collaboration is in fact complementing everything you've been doing until now, because we're bringing all masters, which is most of the time not the case, because I know at least most of the hospitals, which are kind of avant-garde in their way by bringing art, you have more maybe in America than elsewhere, because they tend to have a bit more money, but they do, some of them are building collections. But of course, they're building collections with contemporary artists, or they would commission an artist to do a wall or something like this, which are fantastic. I mean, there is nothing against, on contrary. But with us, there are two things we're complementing, so to say. I want to believe is that first we bring all masters, and second we're bringing moving image.
Yes.
We're bringing film. And we've done this statistic. I did it in London, where the Royal London Hospital, where we were testing. There's been this test, which is statistically impressive, is that if you are anxious or stressed and you're looking at a work of art, you tend to, the cortisol level drops instantly, minimum 60%. Some people, it can just go away. It depends how deep their stress is. And this is what we're going to basically confirm with your way of testing and the way of the WHO to protocol, but we all know that it will work. So there is no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But what is interesting also is that there is a number which says that when people go to a museum, they don't look at a work of art more than 5 seconds. I claim to say that because they don't know how to look at it, meaning they hardly see it in a way. They don't, their eyes is not trained. But with us, because it's moving image, they stay in it, and they are maybe a little bit mesmerized by the, you know, this kind of hypnotic state, because we also tested that basically when you're looking at a video art, you are in an hypnotic state, which means you're using your alpha frequencies and everything. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to maybe complement, which means that for you can offer now the full palette, like we say in French, the whole scope of art and all the different experiences.
Absolutely.
I think that we don't have so much time, so I don't know if you want to share, if there is something you want to still share before we pass on, and maybe we can find each other back in the Q&A and things like this if you stay with us.
Absolutely, Elisabeth. Yeah, just to reinforce what you say about the perfect complementarity. You know, we have build, we have, you know, establish, and that is very powerful, because it is really about what you describe, how you complement as well the different experience, because for example, for each individual, it will be unique experience, you know. Me, myself, I have been able to test the impact of the music of my art, for example, and to really integrate the effect of that, specifically about what you have mentioned, Elizabeth, very important. It is how, for example, this effect, like the moving visual art or the effect of the music, help you to remove, this mental energy, I will say, this constant voice, you have in the head, and really to experiment the full experience of the state of the mind, like, the intuition, the let it go, when you really embrace, I will say, this experience of art. And definitively agree with you, it is a question of training, appetite for art, because I think the people, and it is quite sad, have not been able to really understand the importance to stay in front of this type of contemplation of moving visual art. But like nature as well around of us, sometimes it is the same, because you can see the people, they are running everywhere and they are not using sometimes the time, to just contemplate, just to be in this, I will say, silent, mode, silent space, and really integrate as well the power of just life, inside of themselves, and that is just to
thank you,
yeah.
Thank you very, very much, Isabelle, for being with us. I think to all of you, we've been showing you that that's for the SDG 3. We can at least be very efficient, and I'm looking forward for if there is any questions later. Thank you. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.